So guys, on today's video, we're going to take a minute to talk about how you can still make your car faster without a downpipe. What's going on, guys? We're back here again today. Welcome back to the channel, Savage Panda Projects, the habitat for horsepower. So yes, guys, we understand traditionally most car enthusiasts are going to want to go ahead, pick up an aftermarket downpipe as a main ingredient to facilitate greater power levels. Everybody wants to enhance their exhaust note, get more crackles and pops and bangs, all that extra crispy aftermarket downpipe greatness.
Oh, those pops are so aggressive.
But I'm here to tell you today that you don't necessarily have to have a downpipe to still build a fast car. So as you guys know, been working on our project Audi A3. We're moving towards getting this car pretty close back to stock. In case you guys are wondering, yes, at this point in time, pretty much everything as far as aftermarket parts has been sold from the car. Now recently, guys, I have been driving the Project A3 with 4 basic modifications. The car still performs extremely well and continues to make far greater power levels than what you would get out of the box. Those 4 modifications include ECU tune, TCU tune, aftermarket intercooler, and of course, IS38 turbo. Now you guys may be watching this if you're new to the game. You might be thinking to yourself, well, why not just go out and buy a downpipe? For some of you guys that may not know, at this point in time, a lot of brands are moving away from aftermarket downpipes due to EPA regulations. That being said, it's always good to take a look and see what can be done to make the absolute most out of these cars without necessarily having to get into issues when it comes to passing inspection or not being compliant when it comes to emissions. So on the Audi A3 as well as the Mark 7 GTI, for those of you that don't already know, these cars come with what's called the IS20 turbocharger. Now, the next logical pathway as far as a direct bolt-on would be the IS38 turbo. This is the stock turbo found on the Mark 7 Golf R as well as the Audi S3. The IS38 turbo is a direct swap, simple plug and play for both the Audi A3 and the Mark 7 GTI. So what you can do, go ahead and pick up an IS38, grab yourself an OEM downpipe file, make some gains, and get ready to gap some people. The IS38 turbo with the OEM downpipe file is a great way to dramatically increase your horsepower torque figures without having to worry about messing with exhaust components or tampering with emissions. For the 2015 and up Audi A3, the 2-liter quattro cars, at this point you're basically going to be comparable to a stage 1 Audi S3. So looking at the cost for what you're putting into the car versus what you get, definitely a big step up, moving in the right direction with your build. Now, something else to take into consideration with these upgrades. For example, you have to look at price versus performance. Think about the difference between running an aftermarket downpipe on a car without a tune versus running an IS38 turbo with an OEM downpipe file. Without an ECU tune, you're really not going to pick up a whole lot of gains just by simply bolting on an aftermarket downpipe. So if you figure the average cost for most aftermarket downpipes is probably around anywhere from, and again, we're considering reputable brands, not talking about eBay or Alibaba or any of that kind of nonsense, you're going to be looking around probably $600, $800, maybe $1,000, depending on the quality of the brand. And you take a look at that cost versus the average cost of an OEM IS38 turbo, you shop wisely, pick one up during your holiday sale, maybe from FCP or ShopDAP. You can get one for somewhere in the ballpark around $900 to $1,000. Once again, looking at price versus performance. So on one hand, you look at spending $600, $800 on an aftermarket downpipe that's really not going to net you significant gains as is, versus spending $1,000 roughly for an OEM IS38, and then of course the cost of the OEM downpipe tune to run the turbo. This car is going to be so much more fun to drive than this car. Totally depends on your personal preference and what your expectation is for the car. I can understand a lot of people, they might not want to get too deep in removing cats and problems with passing inspection or not being compliant with emissions. Now, one thing very important, guys, on any of these builds, no matter how you slice the pie, if you're going to be running a high output or a high torque file, you always want to run the appropriate matching TCU tune. If you need more information on this, I'll go ahead and leave a card right up here to check out my video about essential reasons why you always want to make sure you're running the appropriate DSC tune to support your car. So guys, absolutely 100% all day. We completely understand and acknowledge when you're going full send on your build, you're trying to squeeze every last drop out of power for one of these cars. Yes, of course, the aftermarket downpipe is going to outperform your factory downpipe. pretty self-explanatory. The factory downpipe is, of course, more restrictive than your aftermarket high-flow downpipe. But aftermarket downpipes, as we all know, are not always what everybody wants. So guys, going full circle here, yes, of course, you can still make some very significant gains running the IS-38 Turbo with an OEM downpipe. So guys, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys find this information helpful and informative. The Project A3, absolutely running strong, rocking that IS-38 with the factory downpipe. We're still making some great gains, and it's absolutely a world of difference compared to a stock car. Well, thank you guys so much for checking out today's video. I appreciate all your support. Make sure to hit the video with a thumbs up, subscribe for more. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.